as promised, this is an update on our self-watering containers that we have along the fence on one side of our property. There are 14 containers in total. We planted them up last year with the Above and Beyond combo, which was all pinks, and they were very pretty. This year I decided to go with a different blend that I picked out myself. So we did the purple fountain grass, which is the same as we did last year. I was just so happy with how they did last year that I thought, you know what, I'm going to repeat that because it's just glorious. And they are. I mean, look at the grasses. Purple fountain grass is just an amazing annual grass. And it brings that depth too. It brings that really deep color, which, you know, there's a grass. This is our neighbor's lawn, kind of. And so if I used a green grass, it wouldn't contrast as nicely, and I think this looks really great. I use Supertunia Limoncello, Supertunia Bordeaux, which is the annual plant of the year, and then if you swing around kind of to this side, you can see the Supertunia Royal Velvet. So let's take a look at a few more of them. They all kind of took on a little bit of a different look. Like on some of them you can see a lot of limoncello, on others you can see a lot more of the Royal Velvet. I really like purples and light yellows, so I've really enjoyed this blend. They have been fertilized on a very strict weekly schedule. We use our Dosatron injector system, which we showed in an earlier video. We've been using the Proven Winners water-soluble fertilizer, so once a week. They got the slow release fertilizer when we planted, and I'm about ready to apply it again. I probably should have applied it a little bit earlier, but I just wanted to show you guys like what consistency will do to your containers. I mean, look at how beautiful. They did get aphids, so that's the first time I've ever dealt with aphids in my containers. So I sprayed with an organic neem-based spray twice, and it took care of that problem. So they did kind of fall behind schedule a little bit because they had to deal with that. But we didn't deal with budworms this year on our petunias because we sprayed preventatively. We started spraying BT, which is a natural organic spray, about the first part of May, and we sprayed it for about 5 or 6 weeks, so once a week for 5 or 6 weeks, and so we never dealt with budworms, which if you have dealt with that, what happens is the caterpillars, they eat through all the buds of your plants, and then you end up with no flowers. They like a lot of green, and it looks healthy still, but no flowers, which we plant these for color. So also, we did plant a couple on this far end I wanted to show you that don't get as much light as the rest of them, and we knew they wouldn't get it, but I wanted to show you kind of what happens, like what a planter will look like when it gets full sun as opposed to a couple that don't get quite as much. So let's head that way. So we planted this one up on purpose, even though we knew it wasn't going to receive as much sun, just so you guys could see how important sun is to these plants. You can't really fudge the lines on this type of annual because they just don't perform as well. Obviously, I mean, you can still see a lot of the container. The limoncello's kind of fizzled out. The fountain grass isn't as strong and upright, it's more flopped over. And of course, there's not nearly as many blooms. I was kind of I didn't want to plant it underneath this tree. This is a big mulberry tree that casts a lot of shade. It gets a little bit of morning sun, and that's it. There's a locust tree beyond the mulberry, so it just gets kind of filtered light, very little filtered light through the rest of the day. And I told Aaron, like, let's just not plant this one, even though it kind of ruins our line of pots because we wanted to go every other fence beam. But he said, no, we should do that just so that everybody can see what a planter will look like. It gets the same care as everything else. It just doesn't get as much light. So anyway, these look a whole lot better. Now see, this one right here gets a little bit more sunshine, but not as much as the rest. So it's kind of a graduated kind of look here. Now these self-watering containers, we have them on a weekly schedule to fill up the reservoirs. So that's all we're bringing the hose out for. Once a week, I have a day on Thursdays. I bring out the Dosatron, which is that fertilizer system. I fertilize over the top. So I fertilize right into the top of the container, and then we take the hose back down through and fill up all of the reservoirs. They've never emptied completely. So once a week so far has been kind of how it's going. Now it's starting to cool off a little bit, or it's supposed to be getting longer nights, and it's getting a lot cooler at night. So we'll probably be able to stretch it to every 7 days and then every 9 days. Last year, I think the most I was able to stretch it was like 27 days. So toward the latter part of fall, we won't have to be filling them hardly at all. So anyway, we just wanted to give you a quick update as to how they were doing. Really happy with them. I'm already excited about planting them for next year, excited to try something different. Aaron and I are trying to decide whether or not we do a bunch of different containers, like a bunch of different combinations, just so we can see how different things look, or if we do them all the same again. So chime in below, let us know what you think. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.